So today I have another tier list video, and this time it is going to be on the Bad Batch characters. Now I've done one on Bad Batch episodes, so you can go watch that after this if you want, but this one is based on the characters. Obviously there's a lot of characters in the Bad Batch, so we're going to be focusing on the main ones like the actual Bad Batch, Sid, Cad Bane, etc, etc, and we're going to kind of skip over the stinkers so that this isn't too much of a drag, because you are obviously only here for the important ones, not someone like the scrappers on Brack. But with that being said, we're going to get straight into the tier list. So yeah, let's go. So that is all the ones that I don't really have anything to say about out the way, and as you can see there's a decent amount of them. Yes, I probably could have talked about a couple of these like Orn Free Tar, but there's just not enough to say for it to be worth talking about them in this video. So we still have a good amount left at the bottom, so let's get started with AZ. AZ is kind of hit and miss for me. He can be kind of annoying at times but also quite funny at times. He's a bit like C-3PO, he's there for the comic relief but can be annoying at times. However, I think AZ was pretty good in this series, so he's going to go in A tier. Not anywhere near S or SS, but probably above the ones that you can see in B tier. Now moving on to Cad Bane, a very popular character in Star Wars and one of my favourite cameos in anything Star Wars we've seen, so he's going straight into S tier. Fantastic. Some people were quite annoyed that he lost to Fenix, but you know, he is getting old now, so that's kind of expected. But yeah, I still think he was done really well in the Bad Batch and absolute SS tier. Now we've got Caleb Doom, and this brings me to my point of saying that this tier list is going to take into account how much I like the characters based on how little we actually saw of them or how much we saw of them. So say, obviously the Bad Batch shared the majority of the screen time, so overall in this series I preferred someone like Omega to Cad Bane, but what we saw of Cad Bane I liked 100% of it, and say Omega I liked 80%, so Bane would rank above Omega. So with that being said, Caleb is going to go in S tier. I definitely preferred the character of Kanan or Caleb in Star Wars Rebels, but that is obviously to be expected because he had much more time for character development. But I still think Caleb was done very well in the opening episode, and it was very good to see him and his master Depa Billaba. Now I'm going to get slaughtered in the comments for this, but I can't remember this clone's name. However, I thought he was worth including talking about because, well, I want to point out the fact that I don't know him, so hopefully someone can point out his name in the comments, and I'm going to put him in B tier, because I say C tier is like I don't have any feeling towards the character, like don't dislike, but I did like this clone, so he's going to go in B tier. Now Chamsin Doula is going to join AZ in A tier. I think he's a pretty solid character in everything that he's in, about the same level for me of how much I like him in Clone Wars, Bad Batch and Rebels, so there's not too much to speak about him. He basically seems the exact same as the last time we saw him in any other piece of Star Wars content, which is still pretty good, so A tier for Cham. Now Chopper, another character that we saw in the Ryloth episodes. I absolutely love Chopper in Star Wars Rebels, and although we don't see too much of him in the Bad Batch, definitely still going to be plonked in A tier. Who doesn't love a bit of Chopper? I would have liked to seen a bit more of his personality in these episodes, but still pretty good, and I do hope to see him in some more upcoming Star Wars content, wherever that be. Now Sid is an interesting one because Sid is the plot focus of a lot of the filler episodes, because the Bad Batch worked for Sid for way too long. However, that's not the character of Sid's fault, that is the writers of the Bad Batch. So in terms of the character of Sid, I thought she was really cool, definitely an interesting thing to add into the Bad Batch series, like someone that they work for a period of time. However, like I said, I wanted that period of time to be shorter, but I still think she deserves a spot in S tier. Her nicknames alone get her to at least A tier, and I do quite like her. Now Crosshair is one of the most interesting and intriguing characters in the whole of the Bad Batch, where most of the theories in the series came from. It was always either him or Wrecker that had all of the talk from all the episodes in terms of what to expect from the next one. So Crosshair is definitely going in SS tier. I can't wait to see what they do with him in season 2. He's one of the characters in Star Wars that I actually care about a lot overall, not just in terms of the Bad Batch series. Like, Crosshair is genuinely one of my favourite characters in Star Wars nowadays, so I'm really excited to see what they do with him. And speaking of where he ranks in terms of my favourite characters in the whole of Star Wars, if you would like to see it, I would potentially do ranking like all of the Star Wars characters. Like there's literally a tier list with about 1,000 characters, so if you want to see me do that, I would happily do that. Maybe I even do that on stream one day, because obviously that would take a while. Anyway, moving on to Cutler Quain, I personally think he's a little bit overrated in terms of a character, and I'm going to put him in B tier. Now that doesn't mean he is bad, I personally just don't enjoy him as much as most people do. However, I definitely still do enjoy him. Like I said, the C tier is kind of no feeling, and the B tier is the ones that I do like. He'll probably rank relatively high in the B tier when I actually rank them within their tiers at the end, but yes, Cutler Quain is a definite B tier. Now we spoke about Depa Billaba earlier. I personally thought she was better done than Caleb, but she doesn't make her way into the S tier, just the S tier, but she'll probably rank near the top of it. I thought she was done really well. Based off the little we've known about Depa Billaba before the Bad Batch, this is basically exactly how I'd imagine the character to be, so did not let me down in the slightest. I thought she was done perfectly, but it's just very hard to put her in the SS tier when there was just so little of her, despite what I said at the start. Now Echo is an interesting one, because yes, he had much more screen time than the majority of the characters on your screen right now, but he was just ignored throughout this series. So if I'm just basing it off of Echo in the Bad Batch, not the Clone Wars, if I'm being honest, I can't put him above A. He'll probably rank high within A, but we just didn't see much of him. Like, he had no development in this series. He just got ignored throughout the whole of it, which is sad. I wish he was focused on a little bit more, because I do feel like the series just kind of neglected Tech and Echo and just focused on Wrecker, Hunter and Crosshair. And then even when they focused on Hunter, the main plot was about Wrecker initially, and then he was ignored after that, and then it was just Crosshair and Hunter. And then even so, it was only Hunter because he's the leader of the Bad Batch. It was mainly Crosshair pushing the story of this series. But yeah, I wish we saw more of Echo, but we didn't, so there was just not much to like in this series. Now Harrison Doula's mum, I'm going to put her in B tier. There's not too much to her. I definitely don't just feel like meh about her. Like, I did like her as a character. There's just not too much to her. I think it would have been cool if they showed her death in the episodes on Ryloth, but that could definitely come in season 2, as we know she is not alive in Star Wars Rebels, and I don't think there's any point introducing that character if they're not going to show us how she got killed, basically. So that definitely sets up seeing Hera and Omega's friendship develop in season 2, so that is something that I'm definitely looking forward to. So Hera's mum goes into B tier. Palpatine, what we saw of him was literally exactly what we saw of him at the end of Revenge of the Sith. We literally just saw his speech. Now it was a pretty good speech, so Palpatine is still going to go into A tier, but yeah, there's just not too much to like. It's something that we've already seen before, it's just in animation, but it's still Palpatine, so I'm going to put him in A tier. Now, this member of Crosshair's like elite squad, I decided to talk about rather than the others, because this one is one of the few that actually get some lines when they're first introduced, and he's going straight in D tier. He was very annoying. I was very happy when Crosshair killed him, but I just wanted to point out that I do actually feel something about this character, unlike the others that I don't really care about. This one I have a particular disliking to. Now, someone like Pong Krell I also dislike, but I feel like he is supposed to be disliked, but for some reason I like Pong Krell's character. Obviously I hate him, but I like his character, and this one I'm just not a fan of. He really irritates me. Now Fenix Shand we spoke on earlier, and I definitely think she deserves a spot in the S tier. Not one of the top tier characters, but definitely up there. We didn't see too much of her, but what we did was very good. That episode where she fought Bane and helped Omega, kind of, I thought was really interesting. She's a very intriguing character, and I think she has a lot to her that we just haven't seen yet. She definitely seems like she's similar to Boba Fett in terms of she has morals. She's not just some bounty hunter doing it for money and money only. She does seem like when she can, she will do the right thing if she can get the money as well, and I think that's something that they can work on in the book of Boba Fett, and I can't wait for that. So Fennec goes in S tier. Now we have Gonky, and of course Gonky is going to go into SS tier, because it's just Gonky, isn't it? But if we are ignoring the memes, obviously Gonky is just a droid. He doesn't speak or anything like that, so he would probably rank pretty low. Probably B tier, because I definitely still like him. I don't just have like no feeling towards him. Obviously Wrecker like bicep kills him, which is quite funny, but I'm going to put him in SS tier for the memes. Now Gregor I think was done really well in the Bad Batch. I really enjoyed him. In terms of just like we said earlier about the percentages, I enjoyed him 100% in this Bad Batch episode, and say in Rebels it probably would be like 80% and Clone Wars 80% as well. So I think he was better done in the Bad Batch than he was in those, so I'm going to put him in S tier. I thought he was really good, and I can't wait to see more of Gregor, hopefully in season 2, showing him with Rex, and then hopefully Wolf as well, showing how they got to the point where they are in Rebels. So yes, like I said, I thought Gregor was really well done, sets up his appearance in season 2, and I can't wait for that. S tier. Now, we spoke of Doula earlier, and I think I'm going to put her in the same tier. No, I'm going to put her in A tier, not the same tier as her mum. I'm going to put her in A tier. I thought she was really good. You can definitely tell that it is the character of Doula. A lot of her personality traits that we see in Rebels are definitely starting at this point. Like, she dreams of being a pilot. She does do the right thing all the time. She is fighting back against the Empire, and I thought it was really good to see. I thought she was really well done, and it was cool to see that her French accent that the Twi'leks typically have hasn't quite gone yet. I mean, it didn't really go in Rebels. She just chose not to speak in it, but still, I thought she was really well done, so A tier. Now, Captain Hauser, a new character as of the Bad Batch, and again, I thought he was really cool, and he's going to go in S tier. We didn't see enough of him, sadly. I genuinely thought that he would join the Bad Batch instead of what he ended up doing, but I feel like that sets up his appearance in Season 2 very well, just like a lot of these characters, just like Gregor, who is also in S tier. So yes, Captain Hauser was very good, and wow, look at that haircut of his. Isn't that spectacular? Now, Hunter, probably the main character of this series, not too much debate to be had here. He's obviously going to go in SS tier. My favourite character before the Bad Batch series, but it's now probably changed to Crosshair, but he definitely still earns a place in SS tier. Very good. Now, I do apologise, I don't remember any of the names of the Kaminoans, but this is the male one, and I believe the male one is the Prime Minister, and this is my second favourite Kaminoan, so I think he is going to go into B tier. But if we skip forward to this one, I quite like her, and I'm going to put her in A tier. And then if we go to the last one, this is the one that is seen in Attack of the Clones, but based off what we saw of her in the Bad Batch, obviously she does die. I'm going to put her in B tier. It's more than just like, meh, I don't feel anything. I do like her. She does try and help Omega, so yeah, B tier. Then we've got Moochie, not really much of a character, but it was fun, so I'm going to put Moochie in B tier, which I think is quite fitting with some of the other characters, like these two that were in Sid's parlour. I think they deserve to be ranked like the same kind of level, like they're both there for the comedy, so is Moochie, so yeah, I think B tier is fair. Now we have Omega, which I know she is very hit and miss for the fandom, but I thought she was cool. She's not going to go into SS tier, but she is going to go in S tier. She just could be annoying a little bit of the time, but I didn't think she was as annoying as a lot of people say, and I am excited to see what they do with her character in Season 2, just like basically all of these characters in this tier list. I just want to see more of them in Season 2, because, well, you all know my thoughts on Season 1 of the Bad Batch, and if you don't, I have many videos talking about it, so you can go and check those out. Now, we have the older of the Martez sisters, and I actually prefer this one to the younger one. They're called Trace and Rafa. I don't know which one's which. I believe that this one is Rafa. I'm going to take a stab and say that, but I do like this one more than the other one, so I'm going to put this one in B. And if we skip to the younger one, I'm going to put her in D. She does annoy me. I don't like her at all. In terms of like all the hate that the Martez sisters get, I think that the younger one is everything that everyone hates on. I think that the older one isn't necessarily as bad, but all the hate that the Martez sisters get, I completely agree with when it comes to just the younger of the sisters. So yeah, I wasn't a fan of her in the Bad Batch, wasn't a fan of her in the Clone Wars. It was surprising that they brought her back, but it's also promising they are not afraid to bring back characters that weren't particularly liked, to give them a second chance and to try and turn the fandom over. And I definitely think that this showing of the Martez sisters was more enjoyable based on the whole fandom response than Season 7 of the Clone Wars. Next up, we have Captain Rex, and you absolutely know where he's going. He's going in SS tier. I thought he was perfectly done in Season 1 of the Bad Batch, and again, have a guess what I'm about to say. I can't wait to see him in Season 2. No, he was very important. Obviously, sparked the Bad Batch getting their inhibitor chips removed. He seemed very shaken about Order 66, and I really liked what he was doing. Like, he kind of had the Martez sisters working for him. I thought that was really good. So yes, Rex was really well done, and I really want to learn more about what he's actually doing at this point in like Star Wars. So he is one of the characters that I'm actually most excited to see in Season 2, genuinely up there with Crosshair. Not quite on Crosshair's level, but definitely up there. Next we have Guerrero, another very interesting character, especially at this point in Star Wars, so I'm going to put him in S tier. Obviously we didn't see too much of him, but what we did was very, very good, definitely fitting of the Guerrero character, and of course we were going to see him in the transition between Republic and Empire, because that is literally Guerrero's character. Obviously we see him in Rebels, we see him in Clone Wars, we see him in Bad Batch, we see him in Rogue One, we see him in Jedi Fallen Order. He's literally in every piece of content from Clone Wars up until before A New Hope, apart from Solo, because that was obviously Han Solo's movie. I believe I'm right in saying that. Then we have this clone Commando that a lot of people thought was one of the Delta Squad, and I believe that member of the Delta Squad is called Scorch or something like that. I've never played the game, please don't come at me, but I thought he was cool. Definitely a very interesting and nice looking clone Commando design, so I'm going to put him in B tier, but obviously there just wasn't too much to him, so I can't really rank him that highly. Next we have Tarkin, who I thought was really, really good in this series, and I'm going to put him in S tier. He genuinely seemed like an actual threat to the Bad Batch in terms of an antagonist in this series, so I thought he's really, really well done. The voice actor has absolutely nailed it for Tarkin again, and well, you remember seeing those quads when we saw Tarkin in episode 1. Now we have Tech. I spoke on him earlier. He was definitely neglected in this series. However, I feel like he had slightly more focus than Echo, and I do enjoy the character of Tech more than Echo, so I think Tech is going to go in S tier. Next we have Cad Bane's little droid. I forget his name. Yeah, a bit more comic relief, not too much to the actual character. I'm going to put him in A tier. Then we have the Martez sisters droid that was Ahsoka's at the end of season 7, and it seemed like it turned out to be Rex's, and then Rex gave it to the Martez sisters. Not too much to the character, but I definitely at least feel something rather than nothing like the C tier characters, so I'm definitely going to put him in B tier. If it is a he, is it a she? Do droids have genders? Who knows? Next we have Rampart. I thought he was definitely an interesting character. Do want to see more of him in season 2. I want to actually know how important he is to the Empire. Obviously he's kind of like the leader of Project Warmantle, the transition between clones and stormtroopers, so I want to see how that goes down. So yes, A tier. And finishing up the tier list we have Wrecker, and a lot of you may know where I'm putting him, and I'm definitely going to put him in S tier. So now that is all the characters in the tier list, I'm going to rearrange them within their tiers to rank them from left to right. Obviously the furthest left being the best in that tier and the furthest right being the worst. So I'll get back to you with that now. Boom, and there we have it. I think that is a tier list that I am happy with the final product of. Take a look at it. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with my rankings. Feel free to do your own Bad Batch tier list. Obviously, it's just on tiermaker.com, just as all the other tier lists that I do, and well, basically everyone else ever. So yes, like I said, let me know if you agree or disagree. Please do leave a like if you did enjoy it. It helps me out a lot. If you are new, please do subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified for any of my other uploads. And yeah, with that being said, thank you for watching and goodbye.